Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another recap of Tyler Perry's Sistas. And first of all, I'd like to apologize for the background noise. I have my hair. So we're almost at the end. Episode 21, A Vicious Cycle. So let's just say this episode it had its moments that I was just like, yeah, about time. So it starts off with, Zach is at home and he gets a knock on the door. Come to find out, Miss Fatima, she had an old flame and she got a 9-year-old son. Like, what in the world? So you already know Zach is like, he's kind of flabbergasted and shocked at the same time. He's like, okay, word. Okay, he's like trying to process it all, and he's like, okay. So he's talking to the dude at the door, right? And he was like, who is you? He was like, I'm Fatima's baby daddy. She got a 9-year-old son. My name is Joey. She got my number. But Zach asked for his number because, he wanted to have it. He was like, nah, I'm good. And then he had to walk away. So you already know Zach is heated. He is fuming inside like, oh my God, no, this girl did not. I know his mind, he's thinking like, this girl, she really, come at me because of this. But, I never heard anything from her. She basically was with me through it all. And this girl ain't never told me nothing about her past and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I'm about to, process it all. So we get to, I believe, next part we got is Sabrina and Calvin. They both go to the police precinct to, wait for Maurice to get out. And I know Calvin is super, super jealous. Like, he's super jealous of, the fact that Bio gave her the money to get Maurice out. But, a guy's intuition is never going to steer you wrong. But in his mind, he's thinking like, dang, he really gave this money to this girl and she barely even know him. So, like, what's she really doing to get this money? Does that make sense? So, they're there talking and whatnot. There was like, what's taking so long? Sabrina wanted to call Andy to see, what was taking so long. And Calvin was like, nah, just wait, it's a process. So they're talking. And he's like, well, so where does that leave us? And basically, Sabrina was like, I'm trying to figure this all out because, I just met him. And you know how him and her relationship was. Like, I'm just trying to figure it all out. And they're talking. And you could tell he felt the intensity of her question, her answer to his question, because he started feeling uncomfortable. He ended up taking his arm off her shoulder, and like you could tell he was super jealous that the fact that this dude came out of nowhere, and she admitted that she likes him and that he likes her, and Calvin just want to see where things are going, and she probably has all this time to figure it out. So after that, she was about to answer a question that he had asked her. And next, Maurice comes out. And Maurice is not Maurice without his little clapback wittiness and sarcasm. Like, this dude will not let up for nothing. So they're talking or whatnot. He was like, listen, why are you here? Like, I want my African night inside the arbor. And Sabrina was like, listen, let's just go home. He was like, I need a bubble bath. I need to, do all this stuff. At the same time, all these men are coming after him. No, you were trying to come after them men. Like, come on now. Really, Maurice. But anyways, they left. And Calvin, I guess, decided to drive him home. That was that. Next, we have at the office, Fatima. She's, I guess, texting Tamara to let her know, like, listen, I really need you to do this and stuff like that. So let's just say Tamara's plan went into works, and it was definitely working. Also, before she came in, Hayden met with Gary, and they basically waiting for Robin to get the money. They're trying to scare him out of his socks and whatever the case would be. So doing so, in walks Heather. And Gary was like, nice to meet you. She was like, yeah, likewise. And Hayden told her, like, listen, you can meet me in my office and we can talk about this stuff later. After that, Gary went his separate ways. Yes, went separate ways. And that was that. For some odd reason, I think Gary ended up backtracking, whatever the case may be, because later on in the episode, he did come back. So after that, he went to separate ways. So Hayden and Heather go into the office and they start talking. Heather was like, listen, I just want his money. And Hayden was like, listen, we gonna get that. And she was like, whatever else you got, that's on you. Like, he was like, don't worry, I got him. Like, she also told him that Zach called and he wanted to talk to her. And Hayden was like, yeah, that's good, but what he wanted to talk to you about? He was like, I mean, I didn't really say that. I just said, if you want to talk to me, you talk to my lawyer. So Hayden advised Heather to, like, call Zach and set up a meeting so that way him and Zach can meet. And she was like, okay, whatever the case may be. So in walks Linda. She was like, listen, Miss Tamara's here to see you. And he was like, okay, fine, bring her in. Let's just say Tamara, she is very convincing that she ended up getting Hayden to drop Heather as a client. And when Heather walked in, she was like, I'm gonna need for you to find somebody else. I'm gonna get another colleague to help you. And Heather's so stupid. She was like, I don't need to go to college. I don't need to colleague, somebody else to help you. And after that, hearing that, Heather was like, listen, you're a corny bastard. Like, you're a corny bastard too. It's like, Tamara's plan worked in motion so fast. Like, you wouldn't even think that she was good. At some point, I thought she was going to, like, slip up and, he catch her doing things. But so far, so good. Fatima know how to pick them. So eventually she got what she wanted. Her plan is going through. Supposedly she supposed to be getting a job there. And Tamara got Hayden right where she wanted him. Talk about his game is good too. Like, mind you, working with a shrimp or whatever. That part went well. So after that, Heather storms out the office and she ends up walking to Fatima's office, and she was like, I didn't even say you could come in and sit down. So I had to come in and sit down. She was like, listen, Zach called me, and she was like, yeah, okay. You could talk to him whenever, you could see him whenever. Like, listen, I'm gonna find me a new lawyer. She was like, let me just say this. You want to be doing this and you're going to be fighting for a long time. You ain't going to never get your money. So my best bet is for you to, like, talk to him. He's a very fair man. See where his head is at. And, you might get what you want out of it without having to go through the middleman, which was Hayden, and be better off that way. So eventually Heather was like, okay, that's cool. Fatima also advised her to come by her house later on so that they can talk to Zach. And Heather's stupid. She was like, so is he going to be there? She was like, no, his ghost from Christmas past is going to be there. Of course he's going to be there. Of course. That's his house. What do you mean? But whatever. So that meeting is about to be set up. And we're going to see if everything goes according to plan with them two. Later on that day, Andy's in her office. Linda tells her that Gary's there. So Gary comes in. And he started being all touchy-feely, wanting to kiss her and stuff like that. And he started looking like side-eye out the window and looking like, why are you doing all this extra stuff? And Andy picked up on it. She was like, listen, why are you doing this? You ain't never did this before. She was like, so you think Robin is here? And he was like, no. Yeah, you was. You was thinking of Robin so that he can catch you and think like, oh, yeah, I got your girl and what? Type of vibe. Nah, it didn't work that way. So basically, Andy told him, like, listen, you ain't had to do all that. He ain't here. You want thin ice, so you better move accordingly because I ain't with the games. Stop trying to bring me down with y'all childish games. Like, I ain't here for it. Not the 1 or 2 or 3. Like, don't play with her. Andy's not with it. Big Andy is coming full force. Like, let him know, sis. Like, listen, you are definitely replaceable. It's either you or my boss. And right now, you better tread lightly. That's exactly what it's going for. You better tread lightly. So eventually, Gary tried to reassure her that that's not what the case is, but we already know that was the case. They said their goodbyes, and that was that. Moving right along, Zach calls Fatima and lets her know, like, listen, I need to talk to you. I'm coming here for lunch. And let's just say Fatima picked up on the energy that he was giving. He was like, listen, don't worry. I'm going to be there. I'll get you. So eventually he gets there, goes to the break room. And she gets there. She was like, what's all this about? Like, listen, Zach, did you forget something? Her food. Like, when a woman is hungry and they ain't got enough food, you about to be a World War III up in there. So anyways, Zach tells her, like, listen, only going to be a few minutes. Do I know everything about your life? And she was like, yeah, you do. So he was like, who is Joey? And you got a 9-year-old kid. She was like, listen. Ooh, her heart probably done sunk into her behind. Like, bro, that was not what she was expecting to hear. And let's just say Zach, he was mad, like mad. So now we got Fatima trying to, compose herself and, let him know what the tea is and what the deal is. So that's that. Moving right along, Maurice gets to his house and he goes in to sit down. He do a twirl or whatever. Couldn't to find out all his stuff is missing. Calvin basically blamed Maurice basically blamed Calvin for everything missing in his apartment. And Calvin was like, but you're the one who let him in here. Sabrina tried to help, but he wasn't having it. So basically, Maurice flipped out on Calvin, as he always is, and saying that, listen, you're the reason why this stuff is like. Calvin was like, nah, I'm about to just go take a walk. So Calvin leaves to take a walk. Sabrina talks to him and like, listen, you got to take some accountability for your actions, because if it wasn't for you bringing him into your home, none of this would have happened. He stole all his stuff, stole his car and whatnot. And she also let him know that Calvin beat him with a golf club and almost beat him to his death. And I was there to witness it. And then Maurice, he kind of felt like he had to change her heart. Like, oh my gosh, she really did this for me. And you know what? She also forgot to say that he also changed the locks for you. And he still broke it and took all your stuff. So it's like, he was not just doing it for himself and being selfish. He was actually doing it for you because he cared for you and he loved you as a friend. And because you let him stay in your house. Like, you gotta own up and be a big person. Take accountability for your actions, because you wouldn't have been in this place if it wasn't for you. Like, come on now, make it make sense. And Maurice was like, yeah, I know this. But, Sabrina gave him a read, and he needed that read because he be doing too much. His mouth got him in a lot of trouble like it did. That's why they got locked up in the first place. But yeah, he's going to try to, do better, or whatever the case may be. And, try to get his car back, because he ain't got a car and no stuff. So it's like, that's a wake-up call for you. Moving right along, Karen is at work. She talks to Andy, and Sabrina, they both let each other know that they're about to meet up with Danny after work and talk about the whole Q situation. So they're about to give her an intervention. They all agree that it reminded them back when they was in college. So they get off the phone. Karen decides that she's going to have lunch. And coincidentally walks Aaron with some lunch. And they start talking, have a good time, whatever the case may be. Then next, Pam comes in. She was like, listen, somebody's out here looking for you. She was like, okay, I got it. But Pam was like, hold your horses. It's not for you. Aaron, there's somebody outside waiting for you. She was like, she go by the name of Jennifer. So they end up cutting lunch short. And he go outside to talk to her. And Karen and Pam gets back to work. So Pam is watching the whole thing while Karen is behind doing some lady's hair. And Pam is noticing everything that's happened between the girl Jennifer and Aaron outside. And just to say things get a little bit heated. And Pam is trying to put her on, like, listen, I'm about to call the police so good, Aaron. And Karen, you need to be paying attention. So eventually they hear the commotion. And then Karen decides to go outside. Meanwhile, this girl, Jennifer, is calling Aaron by the name of John. He was like, don't call me this, this and this and that. When Karen gets outside, supposedly, she says, you thought you were the only one. This is what he does. And stuff like that. I mean, he do look like the type of narcissist that will, like, string you along and play both sides of the field. Yeah, using that God righteousness to, like, push the cover and, make things better in his sense and in the light. But that's not the case. I can't wait to see what happens next. Let's just say it's getting heated. And now Karen sees him in a different light that she did never think that she would see him in. which makes sense. Like, you should have known that. That's how you get them is how you lose them. You better get right. Get with the program. So next we have Danny. She's at the at her job. She's you know, doing what she does. And in walks Preston. And Preston was talking to her. But she do have like this whole hostility towards her for no reason. Like, he shouldn't even be the root of all the issues that you got going on within your head. Like, you literally taking out on this sweet, kind man. Like, come on now. You got a good one and you still don't see that, you know, he's good for you. So they're talking. And Preston picks up on the energy that she's giving. He was like, what's with all the attitude? She was like, I don't have an attitude. Yeah, you have an attitude. He finally tells her, like, listen, I'm here. Okay, I've flown in from home. And he was like, yeah. And surprisingly, she was like, surprisingly, you're always here every time I'm at work. Okay, it's not his fault. That's just what happens when his flights come. I mean, okay, whatever. You're not the only person that's, you know, whatever the case may be. So he was like, listen, I'm not here for you. I'm here because Mindy's coming to see me. And he asked, do you want to meet her? She was like, nah, I don't want to meet her. Doing so, up walks Q. And she said, listen, I told you to get away from me. And then Preston was like, another one. Another one. Like, what's this all about? He was like, don't worry about it. It ain't your business. So eventually, Danny finished telling him off. And Preston decides to walk off to go back to the other gate to meet Mindy. And then Q was like, what's this all about? And stuff. They like, listen, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Just leaving me alone. I ain't got time for you. He was like, how did you get this job? Like, did Logan help you get this job? And next thing you know, Q was like, you know Logan? Like, yeah. Let's just say, oh, things is about to get spicy. Ooh. I believe that's everything that's happened, right? Yeah, I believe everything that's happened so far in this episode. I can't wait to see what happens next week because all this stuff is about to come to light. And let's just see if things go according to plan. Do Danny actually get to see Mindy? Do Karen really confront Aaron about his ways and how he treated that woman? Will Maurice finally, you know, step up to the plate and confront Q about what's going on? Same thing with Andy, Gary, and Robin. Zach, Heather, Fatima. Like, it is so much going on right now that, you know, it's hitting the fan. Will actually Sabrina confess her feelings between Calvin and Bio? We won't know. But y'all stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap of episode 21. Can you believe we're almost at the finish line? Next week is the season finale, and I'm here for it. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap of episode 21, A Vicious Cycle, and y'all stay tuned for to see the finale next week. In other words, bye.